Good afternoon, ma. In today's class, we will go through the continuation of properties of cathode rays. I think in yesterday's class, we have completed nearly 5 properties. First one, cathode rays will travel in straight line from cathode to anode. Second one, cathode rays will be deflected in the presence of electric field towards positive charged plate. Cathode rays will be deflected towards north pole in the presence of magnetic field. Okay, next, fourth one, cathode rays when they fall on thin metal foil like that one, they will penetrate through the metal foil. And fifth one, cathode rays will create greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass tube. Like this, some more properties are there. Totally we have seen 5 properties of cathode rays. Now today's class we will continue with sixth one, that is, this is the path of cathode ray. This is cathode, and these cathode rays are coming like this. Okay, in the path of cathode rays, I kept a fan-like substance. A fan-like substance which is made with very light substance, that is mica. Very light substance, because if it is little bit heavy, we cannot observe any observation from this one. Okay, now because of this one, what we can observe? Okay, see, in the path of cathode rays, if you keep fan-like substance, in the path of cathode rays, if you keep the fan-like substance which is made with mica, okay, now these cathode rays are going to be falling on this fan-like substance. These cathode rays are going to be falling on this fan-like substance, and this fan-like substance is rotating, will be rotating. So in the path of cathode rays, if you keep a fan-like substance which is made with light material, okay, these cathode rays are going to hit that fan, and that fan is set into motion. Okay, by seeing this one, we can understand cathode rays contain some mass. Sir, how it is related? Cathode rays, if it is contained by mass, and they are going to hit the fan-like substance, and that fan-like substance is set into motion. How can we say, by seeing that motion of the fan, these cathode rays contain mass? Okay, definitely a massive particle, cathode rays contain some mass, and these are moving with some velocity. Definitely a massive particle, if it is moving with some velocity, they have kinetic energy. They have some kinetic energy. A particle without mass, that cannot be contained by kinetic energy, that cannot be that cannot be possible with kinetic energy. Now a particle with mass moving with some velocity has some kinetic energy. Now these cathode rays with some kinetic energy are going to be falling on this fan-like substance, and this kinetic energy is transferred to that fan, and that fan is set into motion. That motion is called mechanical motion. That motion is called mechanical motion. Same thing, let us keep one light. Suppose in our room, okay, in the path of light we have fan-like substance, very light, very thin fan-like substance, very light fan-like substance, keep that one. That light is going to hit that fan-like substance. Is it set into motion? No, because light has no mass. It is not coming under matter. Light is not coming under matter, it is a form of energy. Okay, ma? Now what is happening here? Cathode rays contain particles. Particles contain some mass. If they have some mass and moving with some velocity, they have kinetic energy. With that kinetic energy, if they are going to hit any one substance, like here, what did we keep? That fan-like substance is set into motion, that is called mechanical motion, which is possible with massive particles only. Which is possible with massive particles only. Okay, that's why we can say these particles contain some mass. That is small mass or heavy mass, whatever it might be. First thing is whether the particles contain mass or not, that one we have to see clearly. Is it okay, ma? Clear? What is the observation we made from sixth property? In the path of cathode rays, let us keep a fan-like substance which is made with a light substance, that is mica. Okay. Now these fast-moving particles, cathode rays, are going to hit that fan-like substance, and that fan-like substance is set into motion, that is mechanical motion. This type of mechanical motion created into fan-like substance was done by cathode rays. Definitely that cathode rays must contain some mass. Okay. This is only possible with kinetic energy. Okay, ma? This is the observation we can make from sixth property. Okay, next one. Seventh one. In the path of cathode rays, if you keep a metal which is heavy metal, heavy and thick metal, if you keep a metal which is thick metal, previously we have seen with thin metal, now we are seeing with thick metal, then what will be happen? These cathode rays are going to hit this metal, and here heat energy will be absorbed. Suppose this, like this cathode is there, from here cathode rays are coming out, okay, and I kept here a metal which is little bit thick. After completion of this experiment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that, touch the surface of the metal, we will absorb little bit heat energy, because these cathode rays are moving with some kinetic energy. That kinetic energy, after heating that metal, it is converted to heat energy. That is happening there, because it is not thin metal foil, they cannot penetrate through the thin metal foil. Actually, they can penetrate through the thin metal foil, but here we are taking thick metal, that's why they cannot pass through that one. That means penetration is not possible. Because of that, they will be stopped, and that kinetic energy, whatever they are carrying, they are moving with some kinetic energy, that kinetic energy is converted to heat energy. So, when cathode rays are falling on heavy and thick metals like here, okay, what will be happen? 1 minute, thick metal, this one. When cathode rays are falling on thick metal, what will be happen? Heat energy will be absorbed. That means after some time, continuous exposure of thick metal towards this cathode rays. After some time, switch off this cathode rays and hold that and touch that one. Okay, touch that metal surface. Then we will observe that metal surface is little bit hot. That is meaning here, this whatever the kinetic energy carried by these electrons, that kinetic energy is converted to heat energy. This is about property number 7. Okay, next, 8th one. Previously thick metal only, now 8th one. In the path of cathode rays, if you keep heavy metal like cesium, heavy metal means more number of electrons must be there. Okay, this is heavy metal. In the path of cathode rays, if you keep heavy metal, X-rays will be generated. X-rays will be generated from that heavy metal. This is one more property. In the path of cathode rays, if you keep heavy metal like cesium, X-rays will be generated through that cesium. Okay, this is 8th property. Like this, totally 8 properties are there for properties of cathode rays. Okay, first I will recall once. First one, cathode rays move towards anode, from cathode to anode in straight line. Second one, cathode rays create greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass tube. Third one, cathode rays will be deflected towards positive charge plate in the presence of electric field. Fourth one, cathode rays will be deflected towards north pole in the presence of magnetic field. Fifth one, cathode rays, when they fall on thin metal foil, they can penetrate through the thin metal foil. Sixth one, cathode rays, when they fall on thick metal foil, heat energy will be generated. Next, 7th one, cathode rays, when they fall on heavy metal, X-rays will be generated. When they fall on heavy metal, X-rays will be generated. Okay, and final one, 8th one, cathode rays, when they fall on fan-like substance, Okay, cathode rays will create mechanical motion in that fan-like substance. By that we can say that cathode rays contain some massive particles. Cathode rays contain some massive particles. These are 8 important properties of cathode rays. Okay, all the 8 properties at the time I am explaining, just make a note clearly. Okay, first one onwards up to 8. Total 8 properties are there. One more is there which is explained for protons also. That means discovery of protons also. That's why after completion of the anode rays or protons, we will go through one more property, that is specific charge. Okay ma? Till this it is enough for properties of cathode rays. I hope you understood everyone. Okay, this is about cathode rays, discovery and properties. Next we will go through discovery of anode rays. Discovery of anode rays. Let us see them. See that one. Previously I kept the heading, before going to this discovery of anode rays, electrons were discovered by J. Thomson. That is cathode rays or anode rays. Cathode rays or electrons were discovered by J. Thomson. Were named by G.J. Stoney. Stoney has named those cathode rays as electrons. Okay, electrons were named by G.J. Stoney. Those 2 points also include cathode rays were discovered by J.J. Thomson. Electrons were named by G.J. Stoney. Okay, cathode rays are also called electrons. No problem. So previously in the heading we kept discovery of cathode rays or electrons, in bracket we kept, but here discovery of anode rays I am going to keep. I am not going to keep it as protons. Why we are not keeping it as protons? We will come to know. One property is remain. That remain property, if you study, we will understand why we are not keeping the protons. Okay ma? These are simply called anode rays. Anode rays are also called canal rays. Or positive rays. Anode rays are also called canal rays or positive rays. Okay, these names also you can include. Now I am going with discovery of anode rays. Let us see. These were also discovered in discharge tube experiment only. Discovered by Chadwick. 1 minute, ma. Discovered by Goldstein. Anode rays were discovered in discharge tube experiment only. Those are discovered by Goldstein. Cathode rays were discovered by J. Thomson. Okay, now let us see what about the discharge tube experiment again. We know what about the conditions used in discharge tube experiment. Left hand side it is kept with cathode. Right hand side it is kept with anode. But one small change. That small change is this cathode is perforated cathode. This cathode is perforated cathode. Perforated cathode means holes are present in the cathode. Perforated means holes. Okay na? Holes are present in the cathode. Why we are using that perforated cathode, you will understand, ma? No problem. So previously cathode was there, na? Normal electrode. that normal electrode cathode was replaced by perforated cathode, means cathode with holes. Okay, this is cathode and that is anode. And here what is the pressure? 0.0001 mm of Hg. This negative charged plate was connected to negative terminal of the battery, and positive charged plate was connected to positive terminal of the battery. After connecting only, they are behaving as positive and negative charge respectively. This is behaving as positive charge and this is behaving as negative charge respectively. Inside the gas container, what we have taken? We have taken hydrogen gas. Okay, at once if you switch on the battery, this electrical energy is going to hit the electrons and those electrons are coming out. Okay, after electrons are coming out, see here positive charge is there like that, here electron. After the electron comes out, what is the remaining part? That remaining part is positive charge only, na? See. After the removal of electron from every atom, what is the remaining part? The remaining part is positive charge. It will remain there. Then what will be happen to that positive charge? Those positive charge, those are attracted towards cathode. Those positive charged particles, they are attracted towards cathode. Like a stream of particles, like this stream, they will be attracted towards cathode. Why? Cathode contains which charge? Negative charge. Anode contains, these positive charged particles contain positive charge. Opposite charges will be attracted, na? So automatically these positive charge, remaining positive charge will be attracted towards cathode. Okay, and they are passing through these holes. They are passing through these holes and they are going to be falling on back side of the cathode, which is coated with zinc sulfide screen. This is cathode, back side of the cathode. Suppose this is cathode, na? This is back side of the cathode. Okay, back side of this cathode, that means glass tube. On glass tube, we have coated with which substance? Zinc sulfide. Okay, now experiment is going on. We switch on the battery. Continuously, those rays are traveling from anode to cathode. Okay, why we will say these are anode rays? Na? Now these particles are moving from anode to cathode because these are positive charged particles. Positive charged particles will be attracted towards negative charge. So they are traveling towards cathode. But we replace that normal cathode with perforated cathode. Is it okay? So because of that, these positive charged particles are passing through the holes and they are going to be falling on back side of the cathode, that is coated with zinc sulfide. Okay, after completion of the experiment fully, so we will switch off this battery and we will open the total glass tube and we will see this glass tube which is coated with zinc sulfide like this. If you observe, contained by dots. Dots like this. The dots diameter and this hole diameter will be same because they can be passed through that hole only, na? Remaining they will be stopped at cathode only. Normal, here if it hits, it will be stopped. The particle which is passing through the hole, only it is falling on zinc sulfide. What is the specialty of zinc sulfide? At the time of falling of that particle, we will observe that negative charged particle or positive charged particle, we will observe the spark. After some time we will see the dot. The dots only we are seeing here. Like this, what are the holes present here? Those holes with diameter, same thing will be appeared on screen with dots. Is it correct, ma? Why it is happening like that? There is no change in diameter also. What is the size of the hole? The size of the hole is happened on back side of the screen because anode rays are also traveling straightly. So without any deviation, they are moving towards cathode, and they are going through holes and they are going to be falling on back side of the screen. What is happening here? What is the size of the hole? The size of the hole as it is falling on back side of the screen, back side of the cathode on the screen, Like this we will observe. Okay, by seeing these dots we can confine that anode rays are moving from anode to cathode. What is the direction of these anode rays? They are traveling from anode to cathode. So why we have replaced that normal cathode with perforated cathode? Because in the same discharge tube we are going to perform the experiment. Okay, even anode rays will create greenish fluorescence. Cathode rays also will create greenish fluorescence. If this is not perforated, whether those are traveling from cathode to anode or anode to cathode, what is the conclusion we can make? Because both anode rays and cathode rays at a time they will be generated. Cathode rays will be traveling from cathode to anode and anode rays are traveling from anode to cathode at a time, because at once electron is removed, remaining part is remaining there, that remaining part will be traveling towards cathode. Then how can we recognize whether they are traveling from cathode to anode or anode to cathode like that? To say that backside of the cathode we coated with zinc sulfide screen and that cathode is replaced with perforated cathode. Because of these holes, what are the marks present on the zinc sulfide, then we can understand some particles are moving from anode to cathode also. They are going to be fallen on backside of the cathode. Okay, by seeing the dots we can understand that anode rays will be generated and they are appeared as moving from anode to cathode, and those rays are called anode rays. Anode rays are also called canal rays because while they are moving like this through the holes, they are appeared like canals. While they are moving, passing through these holes, they are appeared like canals. Like this, one canal is there, here one more canal. Like this it is appeared as canal. That's why these rays are called canal rays. As these particles contain positive charged particles, these are called positive rays. As these rays contain positive charged particles, these are called positive rays. So these are the other names of anode rays. What are the other names for anode rays? Positive rays or canal rays. I hope you understood this one. After the electron exiting out from the atom, remaining part is definitely there. That remaining part contains positive charge. Definitely that remaining part positive charge will be attracted towards cathode, and they are appeared as moving from anode to cathode, and those rays are given name as anode rays as they are traveling from anode to cathode. And once they are attracted towards cathode, definitely those anode rays contain positive charged particles. Okay, then we can understand both positive charged particles and negative charged particles constituting in the atom equally, and they are giving neutral to the atom. That's why atom is neutral. Okay, ma? This is about discovery of anode rays. Next we have to see what about the properties of anode rays. Before that, I hope you understood. Here, what are the conditions here? Pressure must be low, 0.0001 mm of Hg. Voltage must be 11,000 volts. Voltage must be high voltage, because to remove the electron from the atom we need very high amount of energy. That is happening here. Okay, ma? This is about discovery of anode rays. Anode rays were discovered by Goldstein in the discharge tube experiment only, same way, like this. That is anode and this is cathode, and these particles are appeared as moving from anode to cathode. That's why these are named as anode rays. As these particles contain positive charged particles, these are called positive rays. They will create some canal-like structure when they are falling on the zinc sulfide screen through perforation cathode. That's why those are also called canal rays. Okay, this is about information regarding positive rays or anode rays. Next we will go through what are the properties of anode rays. Let us see them. Under properties of anode rays, first one, anode rays will move from anode to cathode. Anode rays will move from anode to cathode in straight line. Same, cathode rays will move from cathode to anode in straight line. Like this here, anode rays will move from anode to cathode in straight line. Second one, in the path of anode rays, in the path of anode rays, if you apply electric field, in the path of anode rays, if you apply electric field, these anode rays will be deflected towards negative charged plate. These anode rays are deflected towards negative charged plate because these are positive charged particles, na? They will be attracted towards negative charged plate. Cathode rays are deflected towards positive charged plate. Oppositely, these are attracted towards negative charged plate. Okay, next, third one. In the path of anode rays, if you keep magnetic field, these anode rays are deflected towards south pole. Towards south pole. Cathode rays are deflected towards north pole. Anode rays are deflected towards south pole. Exactly opposite. Okay, next one. This is third one. Fourth. Anode rays, ma. Anode rays will give greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass shoe. Anode rays will give greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass shoe. Same property which was shown by cathode rays, same thing here also. Anode rays will give greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass shoe. Okay ma? These deflections, everything okay? What is the first one? Anode rays are traveling from anode to cathode in straight line. Second one, anode rays are deflected towards negative charged plate in the presence of electric field. Third one, anode rays are deflected towards south pole in the presence of magnetic field. Fourth one, anode rays will give greenish fluorescence when they fall on glass shoe. Next, fifth one. Remaining properties are all same. You can copy down, no problem. Fifth one, if you keep in the path of cathode rays any fan-like material which is made with mica, okay, then this one will be set into mechanical motion. By this what we can understand, anode rays are contained by some mass. Anode rays are contained by some mass. Okay, same in cathode rays what we have discussed, in the same way we are discussing here. Anode rays are contained by some mass. How can we say this one? These anode rays are going to hit the fan-like material which is made with light material like mica. Okay, that fan-like material is set into motion, which is mechanical motion. When it is possible, when anode rays have some mass and they are moving with some velocity, definitely they are equipped with kinetic energy. That kinetic energy will be transformed into mechanical energy. That is happening. Okay, ma. This is about fifth property. Next, sixth one. When anode rays are fallen on thin metal foil, these anode rays will be penetrated through the thin metal foil. Anode rays will be penetrated through the thin metal foil. Same, how cathode rays are shown, in the same way, anode rays are penetrated through the thin metal foil when they fall on thin metal. Okay, now next one, seventh. In the path of anode rays, if you keep thick metal, heat energy will be generated. In the path of anode rays, if you keep thick metal and these anode rays are going to be falling on the thick metal, to generate heat energy, because these are all massive particles moving with some velocity. They have kinetic energy. With that kinetic energy, they are going to hit the thick metal. They cannot penetrate through the thick metal because it is very thick. Okay, then they are stopped by the thick metal, and on the surface, if you touch that one, we will feel hot. Okay, next one, eighth and final property. When in the path of anode rays, if you keep heavy metals like cesium, X-rays will be generated. In the path of anode rays, if you keep heavy metal like cesium, which rays will be generated? X-rays will be generated. Okay, this is about eighth property, and these are all properties of anode rays. First 3 or 4 properties, hardly 3 properties are different from cathode rays. That is opposite charge. According to that, some properties are completely opposite, but remaining all the properties almost they are same with the cathode rays. Anode rays properties and cathode rays properties are almost same. Number is also same, 8 number. Okay ma, this is about properties of anode rays. But ninth one more is there. By comparing these anode rays property with cathode rays, then only we will understand. Okay, that is specific charge. Especially I will say that one. Now I am going to discuss about that specific charge. Is it okay ma? Now let us see. First, before going to that property, what is the specific charge? Specific charge is the specific charge of particle. If you consider any one particle, whatever it is, it must be charged particle. Okay, specific charge of any particle is the ratio of charge of the particle and mass of the particle. Specific charge of particle is the ratio of charge of the particle and mass of the particle, which is represented by E by m. E by m. We can call this one as E by m ratio also. Specific charge of particle or E by m ratio, where E is equal to charge of particle and m is equal to mass of particle. E is equal to charge of particle and m is equal to mass of particle. Okay, now let us explain some more about this specific charge. After that, what is the important point regarding cathode rays and anode rays we will see. Okay ma, let us see. E by m ratio of electron is equal to charge of electron divided by mass of electron. E by m ratio of electron is equal to charge of electron divided by mass of electron. If you take E by m ratio of proton is equal to charge of proton divided by mass of proton. Charge of proton divided by mass of proton. This is about the topic regarding specific charge. Okay ma. Now the point, ninth point, coming under this cathode rays and anode rays specific charge, which is related to specific charge, is ninth point under cathode rays as well as anode rays, under anode rays. Ninth point. E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Coming to anode rays, E by M ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken in discharge tube. So what we can understand, if you take cathode rays, cathode rays E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Coming to anode rays, E by M ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Okay, we have taken discharge tube experiment. In that discharge tube experiment, we have taken hydrogen gas. In our example, we have taken hydrogen gas. But instead of hydrogen gas, we can take any other gas also, like helium. If you are able to take sodium, magnesium also we can take. Any other gas also we can take instead of hydrogen. Okay, so if you change the gas, E by M ratio also will be changed for anode rays. That is the meaning. For anode rays, if you change the gas, E by M ratio also will be changed. For cathode rays, whatever the gas we have taken in discharge tube, E by M ratio is constant. That E by M ratio is like value only, number into some number. That one, all those things clearly I will give data in next class. Okay, this class we have given clarification about both properties of anode rays and properties of cathode rays. Okay, 8 properties of cathode rays and 8 properties of anode rays we have seen. Coming to ninth one, this is about the ninth property, that is E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent of nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Anode rays, E by M ratio of anode rays is dependent on nature of gas taken in discharge tube. Why this E by M ratio of cathode rays is independent and why this E by M ratio of anode rays is dependent, that one we will see in next class. Okay, this is about today's class. In today's class, what we have learnt, we have started with discovery of anode rays, okay, and properties of anode rays. Under that properties of anode rays, we come across with specific charge also. Okay, all these things we have seen. Okay, now why did I keep the heading discovery of anode rays and why didn't I keep in bracket protons? That clarity also you will get in ninth property. That is in tomorrow's class. Okay, that is about today's class. I hope you understood everything. Okay, till now what are the topics we completed? Introduction part of structure of atom. After that, how atoms are divisible by using the experiment photoelectric effect. After that, before the Dart's atomic theory, by using photoelectric effect we have told that atoms are divisible. And once if atoms are divisible, there are some more particles present in the atom. Those are called subatomic particles. In that, 3 important particles are there. Those are called fundamental particles. Those are electron, proton and neutron. Now we are going to discover those electron, proton and neutron under the headings. First heading, discovery of cathode rays. We discovered the cathode rays and we have written the properties. After that, discovery of protons or anode rays. Actually, anode rays are not completely protons. You will understand by 9th point in next class. Okay, so we have seen discovery of anode rays. Anode rays are also called positive rays or canal rays, and properties of anode rays we have seen in today's class. Next class we will give clarity about this 9th point and we will go through discovery of neutron, third one. Okay, and it will be continued like this. This is about today's class. All of you might have cleared about this concept till now, whatever it is discussed. Okay, if you have any doubts anytime, you can just reach me through WhatsApp. Okay, thank you all.